Pausing to remember the ultimate sacrifice. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keisha Adderley, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Topping the news tonight, 38 years later, May 10th remains a somber memory for the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and many Bahamians. On this day back in 1980, after arresting 2 Cuban fishing vessels near the Ragged Island chain, Her Majesty's Bahamian ship, the Flamingo, was fired upon by Cuban MiG jets in the dead of night, leaving many of the crew members treading water. Well, today the force remembered its fallen Marines and survivors of that incident, and among those observing the occasion at the Coral Harbor base were the Governor General and the Prime Minister, as Jimenita Swain tells us.
A salute to the man who made the ultimate sacrifice and the crew of the H.M.B.S. Flamingo. A memorial service held Thursday morning at the Coral Harbor base to mark the 38th anniversary of what many would see as an attack on Bahamian territory by a foreign entity. Cuban MiG jets shot upon and sank the H.M.B.S. Flamingo 1 mile from Cape Santo Domingo. The surviving crew and 8 Cuban passengers went to Ragged Island to alert officials and flee attackers. 4 men, Able Seaman Fenric Stirrup, Marine Seaman Austin Smith, Marine Seaman David Tucker, and Marine Seaman Edward Williams, were lost at sea. The memorial service included the Governor General, the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, other cabinet ministers, members of the armed forces, as well as survivors and family members. The Governor General, in her capacity as head of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, said news of the tragedy would be delivered on Mother's Day, 40 days after an act of Parliament created the Royal Bahamas Defense Force.
The realization of the awesome responsibilities of self-governance, self-reliance, and of course self-defense became ever so clearer to all Bahamians. Commodore Bethel, senior officers and Marines, in retrospect, I am very proud to observe that the dedicated service and selfless sacrifice of the men and women of the Defense Force continue to stir up a deep sense of national pride and respect for all that it means to be a citizen of a sovereign nation.
While the Bahamas was traumatized by the attack, diplomatic relations continued with Cuba. The moment in history is one the Governor General says should never be forgotten. On board the Flamingo and making up the 14 survivors was former Sub-Lieutenant Anthony Allens.
It's brought memories, but I am indeed pleased that the Defense Force keeps it alive so that we remember the 4 young men who lost their lives. As I was telling someone earlier, that it needs to be put in the school curriculum so that the entire Bahamas could know our history and our military history.
At the memorial, officials and family members laid wreaths in remembrance of the fallen. The procession led by the Governor General would next move to the shores where wreaths were cast into the sea, also in remembrance. Now, while this memorial takes place every year, the men and women of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force are reminded that they too can be called upon to make the ultimate sacrifice at any time to protect and preserve the heritage of the Bahamas. Jimenita Swain, ZNS Network News.